Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I was sitting here working on some stuff, and I'm actually stuck in London. I had an extra night because I was so stupid I missed my flight. I'm headed to the Canary Islands, which is on the coast of Africa. They say it's owned by Spain, but it's really not owned. It's really not Spanish, in my opinion. It's African because they stole all of our stuff, and it burns me up. But anyway, I was just sitting there and I was thinking about just you know people achieving their goals and what that looks like. I have a lot of young people that work for me, some millennials, and I coach them constantly about goal setting and working hard. And I'm not an easy person to work for. I'm gonna tell you guys the truth. I'm a person that I fire a lot of people. A lot of the young people who work for me in the past got fired because we push so hard. We just don't it's not I get tired. I don't like mediocrity. I don't like and it's not so much mediocre ability, it's mediocre effort. I don't like it when people only put mediocre effort. I kind of feel like life is short, man. You got to go for what's yours. You got to work hard and you got to educate yourself. I don't know about y'all, but I get frustrated a lot of times when I see, just kind of this commitment to mediocrity in our community when it comes to education and learning and getting better. People just want to chill and just do nothing with their lives. And I'm like, life is short, man. You got so many things you could be doing. And I guess I say all that publicly to encourage anybody who feels, like a little bit out of whack with the rest of the world, or feels that they are, that they're not, that they don't fit in because they want to work hard and you want to set big goals, and everybody else is sitting around and just kind of being, lazy, because laziness is contagious. And I'm gonna tell you that the white man ain't playing with you. He's competitive with you. He's coming, he's coming hard at you. And and I would just say that um that that you can't defeat him. You can't build anything in this world if you're not ready to be equally competitive, if not more so. So if their children are at home and they're learning extensive vocabulary words, and they're learning how to do math at the highest levels, and they're learning how to be engineers and scientists and entrepreneurs, our kids can't be learning how to dribble basketballs, throw footballs, and rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying those things are bad, but I'm saying that that's not really going to get you ahead in this world most of the time. I've helped some rappers get on the map. Like I said, Young M.A. This is my most famous creation, if you will. But I've had some other people. Mark Lamont Hill gives me credit for helping him get started. Cynthia G, who you see on YouTube, she I helped her get going, and a few other people. There are a few others that I can think of, and I'm not bragging about it, I'm just telling you the truth. And the thing is that, there are some people that are in the entertainment space that are doing well, but most entertainers I know are not doing well. Most of them are not out, really out here in the public and succeeding. Most of them are struggling. And so I don't think that it's a win for black people to focus solely on entertainment, especially when you're talking about entertaining white folks, because what that typically leads to this thing called buck dancing, which happens quite often. Black people are addicted to buck dancing. We are addicted to coonery. I think that buck dancing addiction is what is going to mess us up, just really mess us up. And I think it's going to keep us enslaved. One of the things I've observed is that we have so much, and I think I was thinking about this because I was watching, I'm just doing a stream of consciousness in case y'all wonder what the hell I'm talking about. I'm not talking about any particular topic. I'm just sort of doing my whole intellectual chocolate thing. And so that, in case you don't want to know, that's the name of my podcast, by the way. And if you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe at intellectualchocolate.com. That's intellectualchocolate.com. But anyway, the whole buck dancing thing, I think it was on my mind because I was watching this new Netflix show called The Get Down. And The Get Down's a great, good show, good show. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. And there was a scene where they were where there's a black kid who's from the hood, who's kind of being brought into these spaces of wealthy white people. He's trying to get into Yale, and it's at least all these interesting, peculiar, humiliating situations. He's being disrespected because he's black and Puerto Rican. There's just kind of a treatment, that people give us when we're uninvited guests in their home. And I was just watching this dynamic, and I know that dynamic well because I've been in that dynamic. I've been in the dynamic where I was the black kid who wanted to be invited into the space of white men. I wanted white men to give me an opportunity, to let me be a part of the shit they got going on. And I didn't realize that the shit I had going on was actually the best shit going on anywhere. I just thought that I had to be a part of what they were doing in order to fit in. And so I was just watching this whole scene from the get down, and I was like, I don't really like this. Does not make me feel good. This does not make me feel like this kid is even where he's supposed to be. You're not really supposed to be in an environment where you're receiving hate instead of love, where you're begging instead of standing tall, where you're kind of hoping that somebody else's decision is going to give you an opportunity to have what you want. It just doesn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we all have scenarios where we have to sell ourselves. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But black people are always selling themselves. We used to get sold by massa. Now we get sold by us. And I don't really enjoy that very much. I don't enjoy feeling like somehow there's something wrong with me based on who I am. That in order for me to fit in with your agenda and to become a part of your clique and your crew and whatever you're doing, I gotta just hide who I am so that it makes you feel more comfortable. I don't think that's that I think that's an old school paradigm. I think that a lot of young people are still raised on the old school paradigm. When I was watching scenes from that movie. What's that movie? Dear White People, and I noticed how much time we spend in white environments, mad because white people don't like us, or mad because the white lady wanted to touch your hair, or the white man asked you if you could play basketball, or whatever. Just consistently dealing with these microaggressions and this disrespect from white folks, and we don't realize that we have the opportunity to just get out and leave. That we can actually walk away and we can still have our own stuff. I mean, they left you. They got it when they didn't like being in urban America. They did what they call white flight. They got out. And then once they got out, they came back and they took your shit because that's how they do. That's how they operate. They can make power moves. The question for black people, in my opinion, is like, what power moves can you make that don't require white permission? What power moves can you make as a black person that don't require you to get permission from a white person? Like politics, voting for the Democrats is not a power move. That is a subordinated move. That you're part of their support system. You are part of what helps the Democratic Party have power because you support them in their effort to create power. What is your power move, black people? Do black people even have a power move? I don't even know if we even know what a power move is, because I think that we are so predicated. So, our existence is so caught up in this idea of fitting in and acceptance, and they use other very passive words, passive terminology like inclusion, diversity, what is it? There's a few other words, right? Where they pretty much get us caught up in sort of doing two things. One, you're not playing to get ahead. You're actually playing not to fall behind. And then number two, you're not trying to sort of become something on your own merit. You're trying to become kind of like a replica of something else. Like, right, you're trying to sort of be part of of white folks institutions and what they have built. You're not really thinking about building your own. And I think that that's a huge mistake black people make. And what it does is it leads to stress and frustration. It leads us to end up feeling like we're worthless unless other people validate us. It also leads us to feel like there's no hope. That the only way we can have a chance in any of this is through the help of good white folks. And I think that once I kind of broke out of that and I realized that, well, I said, wait a minute, systems are designed by men and women. We can design systems too. When you talk about the educational system, the economic system, the entertainment systems, entertainment industries, we can develop systems and industries too. The question is, are we trained on that? Do we really grow up thinking about how do we create systems and industries, and not in a way that facilitates a kind of a silly pipe dream, where we're sitting there thinking like, okay, I'm going to raise $1 billion so I can start a new Black Hollywood. That's a nice dream, but it's going to be hard to do. Why not raise $1 million? Why not raise $500,000 and just operate with that? So I don't know. Somebody's asking me, what do I think about LeVar Ball? I think LeVar Ball is a guy who has an extraordinary vision for his family. He's not a good person, in my opinion. I don't like him, but at the same time, me liking him has nothing to do with what I think about what he's trying to accomplish. I think LeVar Ball is a person who has the right idea to a point. He's trying to. LeVar Ball is the guy out of LA who's trying to. He has three sons, Lonzo and I can't remember all their names, but one of them's named Lonzo, and Lonzo is He's a top draft pick. He's going to be a top lottery pick in the NBA draft. And so Lonzo's going to the NBA. So LeVar, his father, has already kind of begun the branding process for his sons, which I don't think is a bad idea at all. And he's basically been negotiating with the shoe companies, and he's saying to them, "Do not, I do not want a shoe deal for my son. I want you to license my brand, the Big Baller brand. That's what he's called." And all the shoe companies, which I expected, they all said fuck you. They're like, no, we're not going to do that, because I think that LeVar may lose sight of how much money it really costs to really launch a shoe brand at the highest levels. Like for example, I think the Steph Curry shoe actually is losing money. It's not doing well, and they put a lot of money into that. So when you are a person that invests capital, you have a very different mindset from somebody who simply signs a contract and just goes and plays a sport. There's a different mindset that comes from the investor as opposed to the person who is a beneficiary of the investor. That's why a lot of people, when my business first got started, we were making more money than the average, person that works a job. But a person who doesn't understand business will really think, oh, you're balling. But they wouldn't understand, like, yeah, we might have made, X amount of dollars, but we lost money because it require a business is like a hungry child. You have to be constantly shoveling money back into it to keep it going, just to build that engine. So basically, let's see. RT Anthony says, "I can't believe I'm actually seeing you live for the first time. You're a true inspiration. Bless you, brother." Well, thank you, man. Thank you. That's a hell of a compliment, man. That you brighten my day. Thank you so much. But the idea is that the mindset of an investor is very different from the mindset of, say, an employee or somebody who simply gets a check, right? And a lot of us as Black people are trained to get a check, but we're not always trained to write a check, right? There's a big difference in the mindset of receiving money versus passing money out constantly, having to pay people. And so what I want our kids to be trained to be bosses, to make power moves, not to be people waiting for somebody to write them a check. Because there's something about a paycheck mentality. Somebody who has a paycheck mentality might look at Nike and Adidas and say, oh, well, you so and so signed the shoe deal and y'all made $8 million from selling that shoe, so he should get at least 6 million or 4 million. And it's like, no, you don't understand. They might have made 8 million, but it could have cost them 9 million to market the shoe. So they might be sitting there mad because they lost money. So you got to get that mindset in order to really kind of elevate to that other level. And so I want our kids to kind of be at that level. If you're an adult and you want to kind of learn more about that line of thinking or get off the corporate plantation, we actually are launching the Black Wealth Boot Camp in the next couple of days. We're doing another session of it. Feel free to join. You can write down the URL. It's theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's theblackwealthbootcamp.com. Go check it out. Basically, the whole goal is to give you tools to get you off the corporate plantation, teach you how people make money on the internet, how to think like an owner, how to basically break out of your job and into a new space so you can have kind of a new reality. So you don't end up having to do the whole buck dancing thing. You actually know how to make moves, make power moves with your family. I've actually, believe it or not, I've actually gotten better at this in terms of my understanding of this, even over the last 5 or 6 years. Now I got my PhD. What years is this? I got my PhD 15 years ago, right? So 15 years ago, I was an expert. Really, even before that, 20 years ago, I was an expert. But the thing is, your level of expertise grows. It's like being an NBA player, and then and then you're like, you're an NBA veteran and a starter, and then you become an all-star, and then you become, like a long time, an 8-time, 10-time all-star. That's kind of what it is. So in terms of like getting those levels, that's kind of what's going on. So now the boot camp, somebody's asking how much is it? I want to say it's 99 a month or 89 a month. We set the prices so that it's not more than the cost of a couple of family trips to the movies. The big difference though is that this is the information and mentorship and interaction with me that will change your life. It will literally affect you for the next 30 years. And I'm not joking. I'm not making that up. I taught college students for over 20 something years, and the students paid, my God, at Syracuse, I think they were paying 40,000 a year. Now they're paying 50,000 a year. I think that's too much. I believe that you can have quality programs taught by quality scholars for less than $100 a month. And that's what we designed for the Black community, so that there's no reason why people can't join. Because I see Black folks spending $200 on shoes. So I would just say, you might want to at least match your shoe budget with your education budget. If your hair budget is $200 a month, I would hope that your hair budget is matched by your investing budget. So just, it's not so much a matter of you giving up on what you do. It's a matter of of just making sure that you always have the priorities balanced in the right way, so that, okay, yeah, if you like Jordans or you like spending money on hair, that's all good, but never spend more money, never wear your wealth on your head, never wear your wealth on your feet. You want to wear your wealth in your bank account or whatever the case may be. You want to have it in a family trust. We talk about estate planning, how to set up your empire, and then also how to protect it through estate planning, wills and trusts, insurance, etc. Those things are really important, and a lot of us don't know those things. And I can explain it to a 5-year-old. And believe it or not, actually, we do have 5-year-olds in some of our programs. Program for kids is at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. Now that program, we have 5,000 children that are going through the program or have gone through it. And one thing that we just added that I'm really excited about is we actually added a certification program where your child, once they go through all the videos and take the self-study exams, you have the option of arranging to have your child tested. We do it through this thing called Zoom, through video conference. So your child comes in, they get tested by one of our testers, and if they pass the exam and get a 70% or higher, then they get a certification in the mail that says, congratulations, you've been certified as a Black millionaire tomorrow. You've been certified at level 1. This is going to be level 1 certification, level 2, and level 3 based on their expertise, almost like karate. Anybody remember karate, where you had the yellow belt and then the green belt and then the brown belt? Well, we want to have a certification system for children that is almost like a baby version of a college degree, where your child says, hey, I'm licensed in wealth building, or I'm licensed in investing or in entrepreneurship by Black Millionaires of Tomorrow. And then what that does is that affects their self-esteem. That also allows them, because when they're done, literally when the kids go through the program, their financial literacy level exceeds that of the average college educated adult. And I don't care if your child's 8 years old. Most adults don't really understand concepts like liquidity and volatility and the difference between producers and consumers and investors, etc. They don't understand the things like the cost model, cooperative economics, and how economies work. They don't understand the basics of real estate. So we have all of that in place. So basically, our goal, what we're trying to do now, is we're trying to build our children. We're trying to build up the next generation. And so it's working. It's going really well. The best part is that we own the business. It's ours. So we're not worried about somebody saying, hey, Dr. Boyce, I saw you on YouTube and you said something that made white people mad, so we're going to take you off the air. Like that won't happen. Now, I could be taken off YouTube, but it doesn't matter, because if they take me off YouTube, then we're always launched somewhere else. And in fact, we just made a deal to launch our own version of a social media network. But I just kind of kept it under wraps because I need to see what the final template looks like before we really drill into it. But basically, it'll be something where people can be active and engaged and have their own profiles and pages and share and have friends and likes and all this other stuff, just like similar to Facebook, except it'll be more focused on building the Black community, sharing news and information in the Black community. So that's something that we've been working on behind the scenes that we hope will make a difference in the world. Somebody says, will adults benefit from the kids class? Absolutely. We have adults that, like our financial flashcards for children. We invented flashcards specifically for Black children that basically cover a lot of the key concepts for wealth building that I've sort of identified through my years as a college professor. And basically, we put them on flashcards. Everybody on the card is Black. So when your child sees producer, investor, stockbroker, etc., they're seeing Black, Black, Black. So they're associating Blackness with wealth, not Blackness with poverty, Blackness with struggle. They're associating Blackness with power, with intelligence, etc. And so the flashcards, actually, we created them for kids. And a lot of kids use them. We sold thousands of boxes in terms of families that are using them. But what happened was, there were adults that would reach out and say, I'm doing the flashcards with my kids and I'm learning a lot. And I said, well, okay. Well, then they're no longer the financial flashcards for children. I want the parents to go through it too. I want the whole family to go through it. I want this to be, this is my push. This is my mission. When I go on the Breakfast Club at the end of the month and they, ask me what I'm all about, it's always interesting. You never know what Charlemagne's going to ask you, but I will let them know that it's my goal to see it that every Black person in America is as devoted to learning about money and wealth as we are to learn about basketball, football, Beyonce and Jay-Z's relationship, the storyline on love and hip hop. We're as committed to making sure our children get educated as we are to making sure we get our, the Black woman gets her hair done every couple of weeks. Because that's my issue. I mean, I know women who will literally die before they go without getting their hair done. They will go broke. They will spend their last nickel before they let their hair look bad. So I'm like, well, why wouldn't you also put the same energy into making sure your children are on top of their game when it comes to education? That you're on top of your game. You know, you can get your hair done, keep your hair looking good, but don't look good on the outside and be shit on the inside. You know, don't end up looking fly, but feeling oppressed. You know, I mean, don't walk around here, you know, looking amazing and extraordinary and beautiful to external people, but on the inside you feel dead, you know, because you're not happy with your life. You're not powerful in your life. You're pretending to be a boss, but you ain't really no boss. You know, you're pretending to be on top of the world, but really you're kind of the world's on top of you. So I want everybody to feel on the inside as good as we look on the outside. So somebody's asking, when am I going on the Breakfast Club? I'm going on the Breakfast Club. Shit, I can't remember. I think it's May 31st, if I'm not mistaken. I'll be in New York for a couple of days, and so you know, people always reach out and want to have meetings when I'm in New York, and I sometimes I'll take a couple of meetings, but a lot of times I might be with family or something. I can't really, or I have a lot of other crap. Usually my schedule's jam packed. And I don't even like to do interviews. I turn down pretty much everyone, including CNN. But I do Charlemagne's show because I actually like Charlemagne. I think he's a smart guy. He's a little crazy, ain't no question about that. And I don't agree with everything he says, especially that stuff about with Tommy Lauren and all that. But at the same time, though, I've known him for 10 years, and I met him for the first time back when we were on the Wendy Williams show, and I remember feeling very respected by him. You know, nobody knew who I was at the time, and I remember he was really um, cool. You know, he actually read my book and my first book, and I was like, I just think it. You know, I didn't. Nobody's reading my book at that time. You know, now people read my books, but back then nobody read my books, and he read it, and I just said, man, it's a good brother right there. But anyway, so to this day, we stayed in touch. You know, when Wendy kind of screwed over the team, and I felt like Wendy screwed everyone. I talked to Wendy for over an hour right before she went on TV, and we were talking about her next big move, and I was rooting for her because Wendy actually was the best host I've ever had on a radio show. Nobody's ever hosted a show with me on it better than Wendy Williams. I kid you not. I've been on Tom Joyner's show. I hated it, got on my nerves because it's too quick, and Tom's interview style is kind of it's shallow. You know, I'm not into shallow. Wendy, she's gossipy. She was gossipy, but she really let you flesh out the answers, and she asked intelligent questions. She had good timing. Wendy was a great radio show host. You know, really. I'm not just. I mean, it's just the truth. And so, you know, so I liked Wendy, but I didn't like the way she did stuff when she exited the TV. I thought it was kind of wrong. You know, the way she did Charlemagne, because a lot of her team members, I think, they were kind of asked out. But Charlemagne held on. Charlemagne kept it going. Out of all the ones that were there, I think he's the main one that really kept moving forward in radio, and he was hosting some little show in South Carolina. I don't think he was making no money, but he was doing it consistently. He would call me every week to be on his show, and I'd be like, "Oh man, dang, he's calling me out this show." Back then I didn't really like doing interviews that much, especially long interviews, but I did it because I respected him. And shit, I mean, my God, I guess it paid off because I mean, when he blew up, he never forgot that. So I have a lot of respect for him. But anyway, somebody's asking, let's see, where can you find out about my programs? Go to blackfinancialliteracy.com. That's blackfinancialliteracy.com. That's where a lot of our programs are. Black Money 101, 102, 103, 104, the Black Wealth Bootcamp, the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program for children. A lot of the programs you get the first month free so you can try it out. So if you're broke, you know, you can give it a try, and then if you don't like it, you can go, and if you like it, you can stay. I think it's an experience that will change your life. And that's the best I can do, you know, for my community. You know, people always gave me a lot of flack in the beginning because I was teaching at Syracuse University, and they were like, "Well, if you care about black people, why are you teaching white folks?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I don't want to just teach white people. I want to teach black people. I just don't know how." So I applied for HBCU jobs. I went to HBCUs. I went to North Carolina Central. I went to, what was it, A&T? I can't remember. I think it was Central. I went to Howard. I went to Prairie View. And the problem I ran into was that I'm not really a conservative guy. You know, HBCUs are kind of conservative. You know, they hire a lot of people that are not black. They hire a lot of people who are not African American, especially in business and in like the sciences. You know, a lot of African Americans have trouble getting jobs at HBCUs because they hire a lot of foreigners and stuff like that. And then also just my style. You know, me getting on the internet, getting on TV, saying the things I say. You know, you're gonna piss off your colleagues. So I created the Black Business School, as a way. I said, well, I think I can do this myself. I don't think I really need them, and I could probably charge people a lot less and give them a better education than they get at HBCU or anywhere. So we just started working on it, tweaking it, looking at different um, looking at different models that were out there. And I said, okay, this is the one we're going to pursue. And let's see if people are interested. And people follow through. We have over 35,000 students in our different programs. And I encourage you to take a look. I think you're going to love it. So if you want to look at some of the programs, go to blackfinancialliteracy.com. That's blackfinancialliteracy.com. And somebody asked which program's the best. I can't pick a favorite. But I know the Black Wealth Bootcamp has been the most popular one. And so you can sign up for that at theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's theblackwealthbootcamp.com. Dr. Watkins, are there future plans for a school on the East Coast, such as Newark, New Jersey, or Brooklyn, New York? Yes, great question. We're actually looking for spaces in Brooklyn. In fact, if you're a real estate agent in Brooklyn and you want to, be a part of that search process, feel free to email staff@boycewatkins.com. That's staff@boycewatkins.com. We are now getting, we're looking at, Chicago's going to be our flagship. Chicago and Louisville, Kentucky, because in Louisville, we've done a partnership. We're making as many deals as we can. We're trying to make power moves, behind the scenes. We're partnering with Simmons College of Kentucky and HBCU in Kentucky. Dr. Kevin Cosby is the president, and he reached out and said that they wanted to create the Dr. Boyce Watkins Economic Empowerment Institute. So we agreed, and we haven't talked to them at all about money. Because I want to give to the HBCU. I don't really want to take, But my thing with all HBCUs, my position was very basic. Like, look, I can really help you. I can really get your name out there. I can get people interested in coming to your school. Just leave me alone. Just trust me. Trust that the stuff I do. I'm a little bit. You can almost compare me to like Bill Maher. Bill Maher is he works with all these political types, but he's not a conservative type of person. He's not an institutional guy. He says what he needs to say. He cusses if he needs to, and you got to trust that, because that's how he, is able to have an impact. So I'm the same way. Like, it's like, just trust me. Like, don't try to put a leash on me. I didn't let the white man do it. I ain't gonna let y'all do it. I don't want a white man or a black man putting a leash on me. Just let me do my thing, and I'm gonna help you out. I'm a good person. I want to see you win. So a lot of HBCUs, unfortunately, are too backward to really move forward. They just don't. It's like you bring the best idea in the world, you bring money behind it, you do whatever, and they're like, oh well, the board decided that we're going to stick with the existing protocol because of okay, and then you wonder why you're going bankrupt. All right, cool, go do your thing. We'll be over here in the 21st century, and you sit back in 1964. If that's what you want to do, then that's cool. Because that's the thing. Like even with Morehouse, I was talking to you guys about the problems in Morehouse, and what I really saw with this big bloated board they had. I said, my God, that must be the most stressful job in the world to have, to have this board sitting over your every move, and you're trying to save the school, trying to help them out, and they're scrutinizing everything. And that's what happens with bureaucracy, is that people get to the point where they're thinking about themselves more than they're thinking about the institution. And then beyond that, they're thinking more about the institution than they're thinking about the Black community. And so, I think that you can have a balance. I think that the individual can win, the institution can win, and the community can win. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Because I go to the other extreme when you have people that say, well, Dr. Boyce, if you really care about Black people, you'll give everything away for free. I'm like, what are you talking about, idiot? We're trying to run a business. Yeah, how are we going to run a business if we give everything away for free? Oh, I know what it is. I know what you want. You're thinking that I'm going to do what you're used to Black people doing, which is to treat Black people like a charity case and not ask Black people to do any of the heavy lifting and then go to the white man and beg for the money. Like go to, Coca-Cola and let them buy me out. So I become a sellout because I'm waiting on Coca-Cola to write that check. Or you waiting on me to go to a government agency. Or you waiting for white folks from some institute, the Aspen Institute, or some liberal organization to give me a grant or something, which then dilutes my ability to really authentically teach Black people. And what you got to understand is that, and I know money really well. I understand how money works and how money's connected to power. People, even well-intended white people, don't give you money without expecting something in return. If they're writing a big old check to Boyce Watkins so he can go feed the Negroes that'll spend money on Jordans but won't spend money on education, then what's going to happen is they're going to come to me, they're going to get on the phone and be like, well, you know, Dr. Watkins, we heard what you said about white America, and that's a little bit much, and we're wondering if you could shift the message a little bit because here at the institute we're a little bit concerned about. But that's what you're going to get. I don't want to have those conversations. So what I did was I picked price points for everything we do that are in that sweet spot where I'm like, you know what? I know black people can afford this because I saw 10,000 of them line up to go see the Kevin Hart movie. And I know that every trip to the movies for a family of four costs an average of about $50. So two trips for a family of four to the movies is going to cost about the same that one of our programs would cost for a month or whatever. Or you tell me you can't afford a $25 book, but you got on shoes that cost $250 and your hair costs you about $90 or $100 a month. So you can afford it. You just haven't prioritized it. Or you tell me you don't have money to invest in the stock market or whatever. Okay, that's cool. But you know what? I count up and I do the math, and you spend about $50, $60 a week on fast food. And you know mathematically, and I'm a mathematical genius, by the way. My master's degree is in math. I'm not bragging about being a math genius, but I might be. I don't know. And I taught calculus at the college level, so I must not be stupid. And I say, well, you know, if you took all the money that you spent going to Popeye's Chicken and McDonald's and Burger King over the last 30 years, do you know that you would be close to being a millionaire right now? Oh, wait a minute. You also tell me you can't afford to buy a house. Okay, that's cool. But, you know, I'm looking at here and I see that you pay $1,000 a month in rent. And do you know that if you pay $1,000 a month in rent over a 20 or 30 year period, you've bought your landlord like one, maybe two houses during that time. So what has to occur is that we got to wake up and start using what I call black common sense. To me, black common sense is really very uncommon in the black community because you replace common sense for propaganda sense. Propaganda sense says that black people are pathetic, black people are weak, black people can't do nothing on their own, black people are stupid, black people should be misguided, black people shouldn't be educated, etc. That's the black propaganda. You're fed that in media every day. That's why I tell you to turn off the damn TV. You're fed that in the educational system. That's why I say take your kids out of that damn school system. You're fed that on your corporate job every day, which is why I say get off the corporate plantation. And unfortunately, you're even fed that in a lot of white universities, which is why I'm like, you know what? In the next 100 years, black people need to have our own university systems. We need new HBCUs. We don't need HBCUs per se, just HBCUs. We need HBC news. And that means new, like NEW, meaning that we need new HBCUs that will reflect the latest technology, that will reflect the needs of the community, that will reflect the necessity to build, that will reflect what the people need, will reflect what we need in order to make a power move. Because unfortunately, 20th century models for black people and 19th and 20th century models are built on a quest for assimilation. They are built on this idea that if we behave ourselves and if we partner with the people who have had their foot on our necks for the last 400 years, that somehow we can find our way out of this mess. And I think that's really so interesting because, you know, I mean, imagine a woman who has to go and she needs money and she has to go to the man who raped her mother and ask him for money. She therefore, by receiving his money, invalidates her right. She deliberately and voluntarily has relinquished and surrendered her right to express any indignation over the rape that occurred. You know, what she's effectively doing when she does that is she's giving this man who raped her mother a get out of jail free card. If she says you're a bad person because you raped my mother, then he says, no, I'm a good person because I paid your rent. So for black people, every ounce of energy we spend trying to assimilate, we therefore, by order of the way the universe works, are inherently giving up another right to stand up against white supremacy. You're killing your fight for reparations every time you fight for assimilation, because you're trying to negotiate with the descendants of the people who raped your grandmother. And so what's going to happen is they're buying their way, they're paying the get out of jail free card, and you're selling white guilt, or you're selling an antidote to white guilt on the cheap. See, it'd be different if we were making them pay trillions, but no, you'll take it for peanuts. That's what like you got the Al Sharptons out here where they're sitting there, the white guys now, they're used to buying each other or buying what they want for billions of dollars. Sharpton shows up and says, well, just give me $500,000 and I'll sell out the whole black community in exchange for a check for $500,000. That's what happened with that merger. That's why Byron Allen was so mad at him over that merger with between the, I forgot, Comcast or whatever it was. They're literally operating on the hundreds of billions of dollars level, and I think they paid him just a few $100,000 to be quiet when it came time to talk about the issue of race and the fact that they were not allowing black people to own media outlets. So that's kind of what you're dealing with, and that's the dynamic. And again, my PhD's in finance, so I spend a lot of time thinking about how money shapes thinking and makes people move. I even wrote one of my first books was called Financial Lovemaking, where I was really fascinated with. I wrote the book because I was fascinated by how money shapes who we love, who we choose to be friends with, how it shapes relationships, how it shapes the power dynamic. And so one of the things I've just really thought about that's so intriguing to me is that, a large percentage of the things you worry about the most have to do with money. You think about money every day. You probably think about money as much as you think about sex, or maybe it's a close tie. I don't know. And it's so ironic that given that that's something you think about so much, why wouldn't you want to master the thing that matters to you the most? You know, it's only logical. It only makes sense. Again, black common sense, which I want to implement that. I want y'all just kind of just questioning everything. That's it. That's it. Question everything. Now, Camille's asking, should we start the boot camp now or next month? Start right now. It's gonna be, we're gonna do an open enrollment strategy where you can sign up now, but we're gonna do waves. We're gonna do cycles. So now we're starting a new wave. So you can sign up at theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's theblackwealthbootcamp.com. Everything that we cover is going to be recorded and saved in the lectures, so you can watch it at your at your convenience. We're gonna cover a lot of stuff, and basically the goal is to not just teach, but to teach, mentor, and build. So that means we're gonna teach you. I'll teach you everything you need to know. I mean, I know a lot. I'll share everything I know. I'll bring my friends in. They'll tell you what they know, and so by the time you're done, you'll be fully informed. But then mentorship means that as you're building, as you're moving forward, because I'm gonna demand action. I don't want you just sitting back and consuming information. I need you getting the hell up and moving. Do something. Do something with your life. Make a move, damn it. Stop sitting still. Just even if it's a tiny move, just make a move. We need black people that are moving, that are active. Like basketball. Your coach would just be like, just do something. Like, don't just stand there. Like, go, box somebody out. Go dive for a loose ball. Go make a steal. Go shoot the whatever. Just move. Like action. Don't sit still. That's the thing in life. Life's short. Don't sit still. So I want you to move. I want you active. And when you're active and you're building with your family, I want to mentor you through that process. I want to be a family member. I want you to bring my video in and be like, okay, here's what Dr. Watkins is talking about, this particular thing that we're trying to figure out. And that's why we're trying to create these Black Business School outposts around the country. Chicago will be our first location, and then Louisville, Kentucky will be another one. Well, because that's where our Economic Empowerment Institute is going to be located. It's also where we're hosting the All Black National Convention, which takes place the weekend of September 29th. So mark that on your calendar. Tickets will go on sale very, very soon. And so the All Black National Convention is pretty awesome. And anyway, so there's sort of teaching, mentorship, and then building. So the building component is when I come back to the students. Like we're doing this in the Black Franchise Program, which is a program taught by attorney Tanya Nebo, who teaches our students how to do franchise deals because she's done multi-million-dollar deals. So basically, with that third step of building, what we're going to try to do, and I've been pushing Tanya on this, is I want to have a scenario where all of the students who are in the program then get first option to participate in what can be effectively be an IPO. Like effectively be the first, which stands for initial public offering, where we would take something we want to buy. Like we'll say, okay, we want to buy, it'll start small. I ain't trying to eat an elephant. I eat elephants one bite at a time. So it might be something like, okay, there's a Subway franchise, it costs $100,000. We're going to sell shares for $500 a piece. You can buy as many shares as you want. And to show you that I'm in it, I'll put skin in the game. I'll buy the first 20% of the share. I'll put up 20,000, and then the students can chop up the other 80, and then we go buy this damn Subway franchise, and we're right there in Atlanta in the hood. And then also we make sure that thing succeeds, because all you need is people, right? So then at that point, with that Subway franchise, I'm telling people about it. I'll go down there and make appearances. I'll bring my friends. I'll hold events there, whatever it takes, so that business is successful. And then you rinse and you repeat and you move on to the next one. I think that is really the teaching model of the 21st century. I don't think that the old model of teaching works. Universities, what they do is, first thing they do is they charge you about $100,000 to go to school for 4 years, which is sick. It's insane. It shouldn't cost you $200,000 to get a degree. But that's here nor there. If you send your kids to those schools, that's fine. I'm not judging it, because I know you need like professional certifications and licenses. Like if they want to be a dentist, we can't teach you how to be a dentist, right? We can teach you how to be an entrepreneur. We can teach you how wealth works, stuff like that. We can teach you how to be successful. We can teach you how to be an asset to the Black community, in a direct asset, meaning we teach you how to be directly involved in the Black community, not a Black person who's working with an office full of white people who feels he's successful because he's been validated. We don't really teach that, because our philosophy is that Black people are only successful if you're impactful, and you're only impactful if you're helping other Black people in a direct way, not in terms of charity. Not, okay, I gave $5 to the boys club. No, that's not really helping the Black community. You have to do business with the Black community, in the Black community, around Black people, interacting with Black people. So not only is the community better off, but you're happier, and also the brain drain stops. Our biggest problem is that China had the same problem. China had a huge brain drain where their best and smartest scientists and scholars were all going to the United States and getting their education. Then they would stay there. And China was like, no, F that, man. We need y'all coming back home. So China started incentivizing people to come back home and let them know, like, hey, we don't care if you went across the world and became successful. That ain't helping us. That's hurting us, in fact, because you're over in the United States. Those are our frenemies. Like, we're not even really cool with the United States. So you're not really helping China when you go to the United States and you become successful over there. Just like Black people, you ain't really helping the Black community when you go to the white community and you succeed over there. You're helping it's good for you. It's great for your family, but you ain't really helping Black people over there. I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to insult anybody, because some of y'all are in that category. I'm just quite getting you to rethink everything. Rethink what success even means. You got to think, sort of process that. So anyway, so what universities do when they educate you is they charge you a bunch of money, and then they have you learn for 16 weeks, and then you're done. They say, good luck, we wish you the best. That's why you have a lot of college students who graduate from college and can't get a job. They can't, not only can they not get a job, the danger is not the fact they can't get a job. That's not the tragedy. The tragedy is that they can't create a job. So what happens is you become very helpless. You become like an animal who's fed every day, and he doesn't know how to feed himself. He doesn't know how to hunt. Doesn't know how to go get food, right? So if somebody else is feeding you, then they ultimately control you. So my belief is that we should have educational processes that are designed to truly liberate Black Americans. So that's where the teaching, mentorship, and building phase kind of work together. Building and would be partnership. Like, we actually have systems where you can partner, like at the blackcommercenetwork.com. We set that platform up because I said I need to have a space where people can go. They need to be able to go into an economy that is Black. So at the blackcommercenetwork.com, it's growing. We have thousands of members now who are a part of this. You can join for free as a member if you want to be an affiliate, and also if you have a business and you want to promote your business on the Commerce Network, there's a fee for that. That's not free, but if you have a good business and you're investing in your business, you're going to have to invest in advertising somewhere, right? So at the blackcommercenetwork.com, we have thousands of Black affiliates on this side, and then we have a bunch of Black businesses on the other side. And what happens is that the affiliates say, okay, I want to make some extra money and I want to promote Black businesses. So they'll link up and get a code, an affiliate link from the affiliate, from the company, and they can then take that link and they can share it on their social media. And when people buy products from that business, you get a commission, and the business wins because they're getting customers. So it creates an economy, it creates like an ecosystem. And that's where we kind of push students toward after they're done with all the learning. Because what happens is you do all the learning, your head's full of information, but you don't know what to do with it. You don't have anybody to partner with, etc. Then that's where the mentorship phase comes into play, where as you're going through it, even if you're going through it by yourself, I'm here with you. You're meeting me every week online, and we're talking about all the issues and challenges. I've got, hundreds of hours of recorded content that, will teach you anything you need to know. And then the third phase is, we try to actually physically partner with the students, either through the Black Commerce Network or like with the franchise program, where we're going to work on buying franchises together. And then eventually we're going to actually look into buying real estate. Like, I'm researching all of this in terms of how to even set up an IPO, similar to like what Punch TV Studios is doing, just so that it becomes a full circle system. Because having a lot of education and not knowing what to do with it can be very frustrating. So that's kind of the model. That's the plan. That's the vision. And I'm just being as transparent as I can be, because I want you to process where I'm coming from. I need you to understand why I get up and why I do this every day, and what my thoughts are, and why I have a sense of urgency. I have a sense of urgency because life is short, and you never know when that last day is coming where you won't be able to do this anymore. So I'm trying to do as much as I can before I get old and gray and dead, and I want to make sure everybody knows what's going on, so that, and I don't care if people hear the plan and all that shit. I don't care about that. I want you to know so that in case I can't continue, other people can kind of pick up the mantle and study what I've been saying and say, okay, how do we implement this vision? Because there's almost nothing about about success and succeeding as a black person in America that isn't somewhere in a book, that isn't somewhere in a course, a program. If we learn, we should also learn things like leadership. Leadership's important. I had a leadership expert come in to talk to our program for millennials. The program for millennials is called Young, Black, and Rich. And I had him come in and talk about leadership. And because I've been thinking about leadership, I've been reading books about leadership. I have a leadership coach named Nicole Price out of Kansas City. And so leadership is important because black people suffer from a lack of leadership. Your leaders suck. Your leaders are horrible right now. And not every leader, but many of our leaders, we have either black people, we either sort of anoint black people who are on TV a lot, which is very dangerous because a lot of black people on TV don't care nothing about black people. Listen to what they say. Pay attention to what comes out of their mouth. How many members of the Congressional Black Caucus do you see fighting on issues that have nothing to do with black folks? How many, or like it might be immigration, it might be something like the environment. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, we care about the environment too, yeah, but that's not really, I mean, the environment I'm worried about is Southside Chicago, where teenagers are being killed every day. That's the environmental problem I'm concerned about. I can't worry about global warming, try to worry about the warming of that bullet going through some little kid's chest. That's the warming I'm thinking about. I'm not really thinking, I can't, I'm sorry. So you have a lot of leaders have been, that have been co-opted, that are receiving money from other people to talk about issues that don't matter to you. And that's all part of kind of a plan and a system. And so we need better black leadership, which means we must train leaders. We must have institutes that train leaders. So when we get these outposts of the Black Business School all around the country, and we're working on this right now, and I'm putting like the money that we're bringing in. So people want to say, oh, well, Dr. Boyce is getting that money. He's just eating off the. No, no, no. The money is coming in. We're reinvesting it heavily into developing the offices of the Black Business School around the country, developing the economic center. I've gone to about 50 to 60 cities in the last year and a half, 2 years, promoting Black economic empowerment. Some of y'all come out, some of you don't. It's fine. I don't care. I don't care if there's 1,000 people in the crowd or if there's 10. I'm going to still talk. I'm going to still go hard at it. And basically, the conclusion I came to is that we need permanent spaces. We need physical, permanent spaces where we can allow the process of congregation. You need congregations where people can come together and know that I'm not out here by myself. I'm not the only black person out here who's really trying to do something with this issue in our community. Because I believe that in every city. So let's say, for example, in Washington, D.C., you have, because we were in D.C. last week, D.C.'s on my mind. Let's say you had a space or 2 or 3 or 10 where black people could come together, network with each other, talk business with each other, learn from each other, invest in each other, do business with each other, buy and sell from each other, and also encourage each other, where you're sort of going in this space almost like a church, and you're getting spiritual renewal when it comes to economic empowerment, and you end up feeling like, okay, I can do this. I've got partners. I've got, people that are part of what I'm doing. When I started feeling strong as an independent entrepreneur, when I left my job, I was mortified. I was really mortified that, that maybe I was the crazy one. I was afraid that, that all the people that were telling me that I was wrong, that they were right and I was wrong, that I was missing something, that it's like, it can't be this straightforward for a black person to get to, sort of end their dependency on white America. I really thought that something was going to come up that I just wasn't aware of. And I thought I'd end up having to go back with my tail between my legs, begging these people to take care of me, and it was very depressing because I was like, man, I've spent all these years getting this PhD and I couldn't I was pretty much blackballed from my whole field because I had said so many things that were sort of counter white supremacy, that I said a lot of things my colleagues would not say, that a lot of scholars won't say. They think these things, they agree with me behind closed doors, but when the white man comes around, they start getting all polite and quiet and stuff. You know how it is, that buck dancing thing. And so I did not feel secure when I left the plantation until I had a village of other people around me, until I had other people like Lamar Tyler, Tariq Nasheed, Michael Imhotep at the African History Network, I'm trying to think who else. People like, all the way from Shaquita Graham and Yvette Carnell and Nomalanga Mushali Moses and a lot of other people that were in this game with me, that I knew, people Michelle Martin, my manager, and my brother Lawrence, and great black speakers, and just all these other companies that are trying to do the same thing. We're all, it's like, it almost felt like we were all on the black version of the Mayflower going to the new land together, and we could help each other survive. And that's when I started feeling like, okay, you know what, it's going to be all right. That's when it was easier to go to sleep. I wasn't, because I go to sleep, my teeth would grind. I've always grinded my teeth, like, I'm just kind of doing this. And I realized that part of the reason that happens is because I go to sleep and there's so much I'm thinking about, and so long story short, I don't want you to have to go through it the way I did. I want you to have a village that you can work with. So when the Black Business School comes to your city, and I will tell you guys about it, we're going to promote it heavily, let everybody know about it. I hope you'll participate. I hope you'll just, give us some kind of support, be a part of what we're doing. But don't understand, you're not there to just support us. We'll support you. If we ask you to spend $80 or 100 or 10 or whatever the number is, we're going to give you 10 times that in terms of strength, economic strength. If you're not succeeding, then I don't feel good. So in a way, you can think of it like a church, except I'm not selling you your salvation. That only God can give you that. I don't believe you can sell heaven. A man can't sell heaven to another man or to a woman. I just don't believe that. I don't think you can. I just don't even make no sense. Give me money and you can get into heaven. That doesn't compute for me. But at the same time, not every pastor is bad. I don't believe that. But and also the other difference is that it won't be a congregation where only the pastor and only the church benefit. The congregants will benefit as well. We want our congregation to feel like, okay, because I'm coming here, yes, I do feel spiritually renewed. I feel strong and I feel good. I don't feel like the outcast, but also I'm doing better. I'm making money. I'm getting my business off the ground. I'm more informed on how to run a business. Me and my family now, we have a family business. We understand structure. We understand investing. We understand capital acquisition. We understand how to do business, how to network, everything, and then overall the community then benefits because then you've got hundreds of black people, who are building empires, empire building black people who are moving through the city, making major moves. We come to the congregation. I say, okay, according to our records, our endowment is now up to $20 million. We're going to go down to to the bank, to the local black bank, and if there's not a black bank, then we go to a white bank and tell them what they're going to do, and we say, okay, we're going to put up 1 million, they're going to put up 1 million, and we're going to go buy this building on this other side of the block, and we're going to turn it into a school. Because that's another thing. Ain't no reason black people can't educate their own damn kids. Ain't no reason we can't have our own school system. All we got to do is find buildings that our children can go into every day. And we need enough buildings to house all the kids and find teachers who will teach them. And my God, we do not run out of black teachers who are dying to teach black children. All we got to do is come up with the money to pay them. They'll even take a pay cut to teach black kids. They will. I've talked to them. We tried everything in terms of models, and we're piecing things together. Dr. Tyra Selden's helping me. We got a panel of education experts that are helping us kind of figure out what this will look like, where we can have a low-cost framework that allows us to educate, millions of black kids. And we got to get our kids out of that system. They have to get out. If they don't, then they're going to keep getting ruined, and you're going to keep finding yourself in quicksand because you're going to have millions of your kids that are brainwashed to fight against you. Literally, it's like a zombie bite. Like in the movie. If anybody ever watches The Walking Dead with zombies, that's what it is like being black in America. You have black people that get bit by the zombies. Next thing you know, the zombie who used to be your ally is now trying to come and kill you because they think that's what they're supposed to do. A lot of black folks are zombies, and that's just the honest to God truth. And so if we protect them, then they won't become zombies. We can keep them focused on helping the community and being strong for the people. All right, so. All right, I'm about to get out of here, guys, but I want to mention if you are interested in the financial flashcards for children, you can write down this URL. It's financialflashcards.com. That's financialflashcards.com. Also, if you're interested in joining the Black Wealth Bootcamp, which is going to start in the next couple of days, first meeting's on Sunday. The Black Wealth Bootcamp is designed to help you get off the corporate plantation. It'll be the best program you've ever taken. If it's not, we'll give you your money back. Feel free to give it a try. You can go to theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's theblackwealthbootcamp.com. We have almost 3,000 alumni now. Everybody loves it. It's a great program. And then finally, if you want to see the rest of what we have to offer, what's in place, you can go check out blackfinancialliteracy.com. That's blackfinancialliteracy.com. And what I'm going to do is I'll keep you guys posted on when we get the offices in the different cities, as well as because the other thing we're going to do in the offices is we're going to show Black movies. We want to help participate in the creation of the Black Hollywood. So and with all these outposts, we're going to have every week we'll just release a Black film that by a Black filmmaker and give it nationwide distribution, so they don't have to go beg Paramount Pictures or Sony Studios for an opportunity. They can come right back to the community. So we got plans. We got plans, and we're actually raising money, and it's going reasonably well. I'd like for it to go faster, but we're going to just keep it moving. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have an awesome night, and I will see you soon. I'll reach out to you guys again when I get to Africa. Talk to you soon. Peace.